Okay, I'm back.
Hello, everyone. We're all back.
Uh,
There's
I
Lynn.
I think we all have more and more to say as this book goes
I
forward.
know. It's great though. Like I'm
That's
really
right.
enjoying that and enjoying the
Yeah,
connections because it's just getting
yeah.
so much easier to just chat and share what we think, and it's lovely.
And also the real life application of the teachings for
Mm,
myself is so important. Yeah.
mm,
So anyway, so I'll go then. One of
mhm,
my favorite things that I think about often is on page 260 when he talks about only the first awakening, the first glimpse of consciousness without thought happens by grace, without any
mm,
doing on your part. And that has always resonated with me from the moment I've read it. And
mm.
how many of you have thought, how did I get picked? Like out of all the people, right? Why
Yeah,
me? Yeah.
that's so true. And it's good to remember as well that it's the first kind of, like it says there, the first resonance that you feel, and then after that it's a journey and you're on that journey. Because I
Yeah.
think
And
from
there's, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say for me, I think sometimes you know when you like question yourself and you're like, am I really like
Yeah.
it's still you know on that journey, or you're having like a bad time, or you're getting I guess you have a day where you feel like some days my thoughts are just impossible, like
Yes.
just very, very present. So it's good to be reminded that once you're on the journey, you're on the journey, and
That's right.
yeah.
And the bottom of that paragraph, it says, once it is done, it cannot be reversed. We've
Mm,
had a glimpse and it can't be reversed, although it can be delayed by the ego. And
mm,
that's exactly what you're talking about. It happens
mm,
to all of us. We get pulled out of that we get pulled out of consciousness
mm.
because the ego was stronger on that day. And so then our consciousness gets delayed. And then
Yeah.
on the next page, 261, he talks about that a bit more in regards to once we have had a glimpse of awareness, we now know it firsthand. So it's no longer knowledge. We know it within ourselves, which is
Mm,
wisdom. And that is what never leaves us, even though we might get sidetracked from time to time. And we will continue to get sidetracked. We know how to get back.
Yeah,
mm,
the quote there on that 261, with the grace of awakening comes responsibility.
mm,
And I liked that, that I've always said, once you become aware, you cannot become unaware. No matter how much
mm,
you want to or try, it's still there. That's one of the things I taught with yoga all the time was like, now you know, so you can't unknow it, right?
mm,
You can try to push it away. Exactly. And we're human. And so it's uncomfortable sometimes. That truth can be very uncomfortable when it's not exactly what you think you want. So
mm.
yeah, that's why I said this whole chapter was just all of it. I would read the whole thing.
For me as well, there was the bit about stress and anxiety that really stuck out to me because obviously I suffer from anxiety a lot and I get very stressed when I'm very busy. This last year for me has been a big like learning curve of just slowing down and learning to be in the present moment a lot more. But before that, and so certainly when I have a lot going on, I feel very anxious and stressed. So when he says, whenever you become anxious or stressed, outer purpose is taken over and you lost sight of your inner purpose. You've forgotten that your state of consciousness is primary, all else secondary. And then later down that page, he says, anxiety, stress, and negativity cut you off from that power. The illusion that you're separate from the power that runs the universe returns. You feel yourself to be alone again, struggling against something or trying to achieve this or that. But why did anxiety, stress, or negativity arise? Because you turned away from the present moment. And why did you do that? You thought something else was more important. You forgot your main purpose. One small error, one perception creates a world of suffering. And that just made so much sense to me, because it is that thing of thinking, oh, this is like really, really, really important, and forgetting yourself in it, like forgetting your consciousness in it, forgetting that's only a fleeting moment as well. Like when you're like, for me, I work a lot in events and things like that. And it's like an event, a big event is coming up and everyone's really stressed and everything must go perfectly. And it's all really, really, just high stress and high anxiety. And people forget that it's just a moment in time and it will be gone. And that is not your whole life, that one thing, if it goes poorly or if something doesn't work out, it's just forgotten then.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You know,
yeah.
I used
our
to do flowers for weddings. I had a event planning company, and I used
Wow.
to do it by myself, but I just used to do wedding flowers and everything. And I think there's a rush, there's a high about that stress a little bit, that pushes you to do it. But I got to the point where when it wasn't stressful anymore, I said, that's enough. It's enough anymore. But that stress level, and it's what we do to ourselves. It's our choice to put ourselves into that kind of stress or not. And that's that coming back to that breath, coming back to that present moment. It's so huge. Even in the middle of all that, I used to tell my brides, said, something's going to go wrong, period. There will be something wrong during your wedding. Hopefully not, but just be prepared that something will go wrong. And you just have to know that at the end of the day, if you end up married, that's the most important thing that can. So how do you focus on one, and then that's how you can stay. It's a lot of them thanked me and said that really tethered me through all the challenges of the mother-in-law and the mother and all that kind of stuff. It's just dynamics are interesting to watch with people. I'm a people watcher too, so
yeah, me too.
a nice little
like
short
to take a moment and go, wake up.
A nice little short quote that I saw the other day on a forum that I'm on is that we're human beings, not human doings.
Yeah, I love that.
Short and sweet. Yeah. Hurry slowly.
We always forget that.
The quote I liked on here was an answer to one of the questions. It's on 263, the top of it. Your purpose is to sit here and talk to me because that's what you are, where you are, and that's what you're doing. And until you get up and do something else, then that becomes your purpose. So walking becomes your purpose. Picking a book becomes your purpose. So like you're constantly, I thought that was just a really clear, crystal clear way to look at your purpose, right? Is just what you're doing, because what's my purpose in this world?
Yeah, I remember having that question myself, especially once the kids were off on their own, and then even upon retirement, it was like, what is my purpose? And so I really, with this chapter, I would read a little bit and then I would stop and walk away from it, and then I'd come back to it, and I finally started making notes and really trying to figure out what that all means. And it is in different quotes he says in here. For example, when you look upon what you do or where you are as the main purpose of your life, you negate time. So then the doing itself becomes the focal point of your attention. Doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you are present in the moment at the time. And
so
that's, to sum it up, to me, that's what I got out of this chapter. So right now I'm sitting here with you and we're reading this and reviewing this. My purpose is to just be here and participate or not, but to be here, and that's my purpose. Well,
I felt it was liberating.
Yeah. It really made it so simple out of something so complex.
Right. Because I with what I've had to go through for 25 years now, I've spent an enormous amount of time in bed, just being very still, because that's all I've been physically able to do, and tried to not let the thoughts, be monkey mind everywhere all the time. but never felt that I had the authorization, that nobody had validated that just being present and taking care of my body by being super still was my purpose. That I got, your purpose right now is to take care of you by just being calm and still, allowing your body to heal, so that this has been just lovely. Like I said, best chapter I've read. So
Yeah, there's another where he says also, or as you become present and thereby total in what you do, your actions become charged with spiritual power.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
So your primary purpose is now to enable consciousness to flow into what you do. The secondary purpose is whatever you want to achieve through the doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just found this like this whole chapter was just so deep and so enlightening for me.
Yeah. And beautifully said.
Yeah, there's so much of it we could take out and just stick up all around us to remind us constantly.
But that's it. That's that practice of carrying it with you. And I think that's the beauty of a yoga practice, is because you have this dedicated sacred space that you start with. Now everybody comes to yoga or whatever, from whatever way you come, right? Even to this book, how did you get here? You got a path that you followed to get here. But when we sit and practice, like even having this conversation is practice for us in staying conscious, right? So we're practicing staying in our consciousness, staying in our present moment with each other. Then the challenge becomes to take it off of your mat or off of this Zoom call and still connect to it and continuously remind yourself, so the practice, the more you practice, the more, what did he say about when your consciousness becomes effortless, when you don't have to think about being conscious, that it's just your awareness is just there. I think that is just the beauty, that it's there. And we will all, like you said, it'll come and go, we're only human. We have to allow for our humanness too, right? So, but the more you practice and we talk about these things and share these things, the more it becomes effortless for us, I think. I just saw the quote and then I went past it, so I don't remember where it was, but my 2 cents.
I really love all of the quotes that most of you have said, that you guys have said. Some of them I'd also underline. Similar to that, they said 277, the whole is made up of existence and being, the manifested and the unmanifested, the world and God. So when you become aligned with the whole, you become a conscious part of the interconnectedness of the whole and its purpose, the emergence of consciousness into this world. And I really like this next bit. I think Shannon's got to know why, because she knows me personally. As a result, spontaneous, helpful occurrences, chance encounters, coincidences, and synchronistic events happen much more frequently. I'm very into, that's my word, synchronicity. All of my friends who didn't know that word before they met me knew it after. And I think that's the thing. Like Eckhart has some videos on conscious manifestation. And again, it goes back to what he talks about in this chapter and other chapters. But it's about how, if you want to, that example of the businessman, right? The businessman who was stressed and he, after 2 years, he was a success in conventional terms, but he polluted his body. It might not have been FT, I don't remember, sorry. But polluted the planet. And then I know Eckhart in his video gives, the example of okay, well, if you want to start your own hairdressing salon or spiritual meditation center, then again, you have to be conscious at every step. It's not about that final goal, bring presence into every single thing you do. And I think it aligns, I know it's a little bit different than law of attraction teachings, but I think it's also very similar. I know I sometimes like to listen to Abraham Hicks. It depends what vibe I'm on. Eckhart Tolle, Abraham Hicks, it's a little bit different. I'm do I want to listen to Abraham Hicks and get on the woo vibration, or be no? But sometimes I'm listening to Abraham Hicks, and then she always goes back to that, like, you know, you have to be happy now. And like when people ask like, oh, but the thing hasn't manifested yet, and she's like, well, why do you care? Like, you should be so happy now that like you don't even need the thing to manifest. And it's similar, like it's just going back to just loving this moment, being present in this moment, being, yeah, I think it's very powerful. And I know, like, from my experience, you know, like I'm sure you guys have many stories as well. That thing of like, you know, I don't know, you come to this kind of sense of calm or something, and then just something super synchronistic happens, or you're feeling
Yeah.
very joyful, and that's the day that the money comes in, or the thing comes in.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
was really being miserable for ages and I wanted it.
Well, you know what? That's in perfect alignment with Eckhart, because Eckhart says we manifest what we are, which is, you know, love, joy, and peace. And through that manifestation, that's when things just appear. And that's when the synchronicity connects. So we don't manifest what we want, because wanting is seeking and we'll never get it. But if we manifest what we are, love, joy, and peace, it just unfolds before.
I think I said this last week, so you didn't hear it, Diana, but I've always looked at it as if you want something, you get the experience of wanting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've manifested it already.
That's right.
It's so true. Actually, like I've experienced a wave of, I guess, manifestation whilst we've been doing this, because I've been trying to make a career as an artist the last year. And I set myself the challenge of getting jobs to a certain amount of money over the summer period, so that I didn't have to do this other job that I didn't want to do. That's an events job, and it's stressful. So I was trying to get enough work that I wouldn't have to do that, and I got 3 really big contracts, but they're like things that, I mean, I'm only just starting out as an artist, and it's like really big commissions for like big corporate companies, and working as an assistant artist in a school, and things that I never thought I'd be able to get, but I just applied for. And then I calculated up like how much money I'd get from all the different things, and it was exactly the amount of money I was trying to get to stop me from doing the other thing. And I realized it, and I was like, definitely, I feel like I've just been on such a like acceptance, like in a really nice place, accepting the way things are and just enjoying every day and enjoying the journey, that I think it just, it all happened very easily. And I think it's down to this and this whole journey we're going on.
It is. Yeah.
But then you'll get the experience, then also of getting what you have thought you wanted, and then I've seen the universe swing back around and go, are you sure?
Yeah.
My husband started working for himself and had turned, he had been offered a job that was really good paying and everything, and it was a new position, and he had been offered the job, and then within the same week, I think the pandemic happened, or no, it was before that. Anyway, it didn't happen. Within like Monday, he got the job. Friday, they said, oh, no, we're not going to do this. Not yet for the company. So he started his own business, and he did one whole season, one summer season, doing home inspections. And then that fall in November, the company called him back and said, well, here's the offer, and here's the new offer. It's a little bit more. Here's all this. And so I looked at him and I said, so universe is testing you. Are you going to be your own boss? Or are you going to are you in fear of working for yourself? Because I think truly everything comes down to, are you in fear or in faith? Are you in essence or are you in content, right? That whole equating those. And he, we talked about it, and he said, well, I'm already 1 year in, and if I back out now, nobody will take me seriously if this doesn't work out. And then the pandemic happened. So it was really good that he followed through with what he had chosen, even though it was scary, and there's no definitive, there's no paycheck there, unless he gets a job, and there's, it's a whole new way of being an entrepreneur, which I've always done. He's always been the worker bee. And so for him to change that mindset of that stability, and that's all, again, fear of lack of money, right? So I think
Yeah, definitely.
that's our culture ingrains that fear into us, and it's been used against people forever, from, you know, religion to economics now, and, you know, it's all just
Yeah.
crazy. But the more I've found myself now, because I'm the one who does the books for his business and stuff, and so when he tells me he has nothing lined up for the next week, I get a little bit of, and then I go, but
Something.
it's as it should be. It is
Yeah,
as it
exactly.
should be.
And I'm always
we
like,
already have the money.
yeah, the belief, that's it. It's like the belief that there's always going to be something as well. I think I very strongly have that, because it definitely was a really scary thing for me as well, like leaving I had a really good job and it was a really good career, and yeah, I just thought if I don't do it now, I'd probably never do it, and I have to try. And but yeah, a lot of people say to me, they're like, oh, I could never do that, or like, you know, I don't understand, like, how do you make it work, and aren't you worried, and aren't you, like, that's often what people say to me, you know. So it's very fear-based for
That is
everyone.
right.
Mm.
Oh, that's so crazy. It's like, do people, are they really aware of what they say?
Right? And calling it in to themselves.
Yeah.
When everybody, you know, I was diagnosed with something 25 years ago, it doesn't mean it's mine. And I'll never claim it, but it has changed my life path, you know. So there are different lessons that I'm learning that I never would have had otherwise, right? So I still struggle a little bit with the doing of, I feel useless sometimes when you're in bed for 3 weeks and you just are like bored, and, you know, well, I've never been bored, honestly. I always feel there's too much to do, but that's just my drive of wanting to experience all these wonderful things in this lifetime. And I feel like the kind of person who could just eat it up and have every single experience. So I don't know if I've been here before and figured that out, or what's in my being, you know, about why I want to do that, but I could never be bored. But I just feel tethered sometimes because of my physical limitations. But then I have to relax into that and say, but you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing right in this moment. If you're here with yourself and just feel your feels, and just, you know, acknowledge that, and then it's all okay. So it's and I think this chapter, more than anything, is truly the definition of free will. When they talk about humans were gifted free will, I think that's what it is, because we all get challenges, no matter what form, shape they come in, time frame wise, or anything. We all have challenges. That's the beauty that I've always said, that having this diagnosis gave to me. The first gift I got was compassion, knowing that everybody has a story that you can't see, right? You'll never know anybody else's story. So having that grace to offer to everyone, always, even those who appear to be non-worthy in their public news, you just kind of go, you gotta, you know, not just one. You can't pick and choose, because this fabric of the universe is all one. Even that we don't like is still an aspect of ourselves. I think he talked about that again in this chapter, didn't he? Diana, you're the expert, so I don't know which chapter it was, but I know he addressed that, about how when you see something that you don't like in somebody else, a trait that you don't
Yeah.
like, that you have to stop and then breathe it into your being and go, okay, but that's in me as well.
Yes.
Why? And so I'm kind of going, okay, where have I come up against that, and why is that triggering me?
Well,
to
you know
have
what?
this sensation?
It's not about trying to figure out why, because it
Mhm.
always comes down to consciousness and unconsciousness, regardless of the story. So what Eckhart says is, whatever we despise in others is also in us. So, and what does that mean? It's not the actions of somebody else. I despise that because their actions are this way. It's unconsciousness. It's the unconsciousness in me reacting to the unconsciousness in the other. So that's when we become the same. That's
Or
what
do you
that's
think it's part of the consciousness that we are evolving in consciousness? So you're more aware when there's unconscious, when you're confronting that unconsciousness. I guess that's the question I asked earlier, because I'm finding myself frustrated with people who are like love their misery and their wallowing. And I guess
Yeah.
that's part of that evolution too, where people come in and out of your life and you have to allow those to go if it,
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Frustration comes from ego. Where does ego come from? It's unconsciousness.
Right.
It's because we are reacting to whatever past situation we had with them, that we're not rising above it in consciousness and seeing the compassion of the other, because we do not know what it's the unconsciousness of somebody else not wanting to continue a relationship for many years with people that want to have a relationship with them. So it's recognizing their unconsciousness and having compassion for it, because they can't rise above their level of consciousness. So that doesn't bring in frustration, that brings in love. So when we stand in love and when we see that for others, that's what I was talking about earlier, when you had first mentioned your friend passing, is that when we stand in love, then that's when we can see the dysfunction of others and have compassion for them and forgiveness for them, because they can't rise above it.
True. But then continuing, I feel like there's an enabling spot too, because if, like we've got my daughter's godfather who is struggling, his body's manifesting these sores all over his being. He sits and he tells me, I think thoughts all night long, they're just awful, right? But he won't let him go. And he's come to the light a few times, but then he pushes. I think he likes that. And there's a point where I'm getting to where I can love him and say, yes, but I can't save you. I'm not your savior. And if you
That's
just want
right. And
somebody
that's your
there,
message. That's your
right?
message to you. You
Yeah.
are not his savior.
Yes.
Be careful of
Okay.
how much suffering we take from others, because we just may take away their only chance to freedom. It is through suffering that we awaken. Some people never awaken and they die because they just can't awaken. But is it our job to awaken somebody? We will never awaken somebody. All we can do is shine the light. All we can do is stop participating in their unconsciousness. So stop feeling sorry for them, or stop saying you don't have to be this way, because that only puts up an opposition to them, because they want to be that way.
Right.
So that's two ways of participating in it. So to be a enabler, those are the two things you need to do. So if you're just to shine your light and absolutely say nothing back and just let him talk, if you can do that, sometimes you can't do that because of the relationship you have, the long-term relationship of how perhaps we used to participate in it, but there's a starting part somewhere always.
Right. But this one is a gentleman who is twice savior mode. Okay. I'm a codependent, or I used to be. I'm trying not to be any longer. But he truly, I think he was going to commit suicide. So when I said, you're getting on a plane in California and you're coming here to Minnesota, period. You're not going into the woods by yourself in Yosemite for 2 weeks because you're going to kill yourself, because he was saying it. So, but now I've rescued him twice, and now I'm at this place where you have to rescue yourself.
Yes.
That goes back to page 260. Only the first awakening, the first glimpse of consciousness without thought, happens by grace without any doing on your part. And if you find this book incomprehensible or meaningless, hasn't happened to you. So if it hasn't happened to him, I'm not going to make it happen to him.
That's right.
He's got to come to it. Yeah. Or anyone.
It, you know what? It is so difficult not to try to save somebody.
Oh, especially when you love them. Yeah. And they've been part of your life for so long, and to watch them suffer, watching other people suffer is challenging. But like you said, shine your light, and people do gravitate toward that.
Yeah.
But
because if
but
our light
it does say with awareness comes responsibility. So what is that responsibility exactly? Did he define that? Oh, here it is.
No, and he won't define it, because that's for you to define, my friend.
Right.
Right. So with awareness comes responsibility. What is that responsibility? To bring in the light of consciousness to this world, in the spot that you're sitting right now.
Mm,
That
makes
is
sense. Yeah.
Mm.
it. Yeah.
Because
So
I'm
powerful.
like, I just want to wrap this up and send it to him.
You can.
I actually spoke to him today. He called me because I had kind of gone dark for a little bit, just because the emotions of this week, and my brother and sister-in-law are here and we're having a good time. A lot's been happening this week, and so I hadn't gotten a hold of him, and he actually reached out to me, "Are you okay?" Which was interesting for me to pull away, and usually I'm the one going, "Are you okay? I haven't heard from you." So that was kind of
Yeah.
interesting. And I told him about the book. I said, "Well, I've got this meeting coming up." And I said, "I'd love for you to read this book, but you'd probably be a little angry at me if you might take it personally that I was trying to say something to you. You'll find it on your own." So I did tell him that. When you're ready, I can share.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that we can stop helping people. It's
Mhm.
it's to stop us from having that attachment that we're going to save them.
Right.
That's what it's all about. We still need to extend kindness and love. That's what we need to do. But it's to have the realization and the awareness that we cannot make somebody ready to wake up.
I used to, when I had my massage therapy practice, I had my own office in Carmel, California, and somebody would be on my table talking about some pain or this or that, whatever I'm working on. And I had my Louise Hayes, Heal Your Life book.
Yeah.
And
We
so
were
I would just
talking about
hand
that before.
I
Yeah.
would find me page and I would just hand it to him and said, "Here, you read this and get whatever you want out of there." I never told anybody, and I would just let them look, and then they'd be with the book. I mean, this book is it's not even gluable anymore. It's just a stack of papers. But it's still, people still ask me, but I always had them read it on their own because it's not for me. It's for them to get what they want from it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's each of our own personal journeys. I think that's it as well. Like I gave a copy of this book to my friends because I originally I bought the book to like read it myself, but I have the audio as well. And he came over and I was like, "I think you'd really like it." Like we'd read 2 chapters or something like that. And so I just gave it to him. So that's why I never have page numbers when I'm saying online. But yeah, I think like don't worry about it being taken personally by people if you recommend.
That's right.
Like that, just share it and like you said there, they have to come to it themselves and see what they get out of it, and if they take it personally, that's kind of on them as well, so you're sharing your light, so
It is.
do we want to share any more quotes before we finish up? Is there anything else that stood out for anyone?
All
of it, yeah. There was so much.
Brilliant chapter. This has been, like I said, just kind of like tying a bow on everything that this book journey has brought us to. I'm excited for the next one because this one was so good. So
definitely, me too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there then, and have a wonderful week, everyone. And thank you so much again for bringing yourselves and your thoughts and everything and your beautiful lights as well to this meeting here tonight. And we look forward to next week.
Yeah, thank you.
I was noticing your candle. I knew it was a candle by the flicker. I was loving that. I was just like, there was just right in the center of us there. Thank you.
Yeah, the actual light. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a great week, everyone.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.